What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Rich of Review Tech USA, and today is Monday, December 5th, 2011. And I have awesome news. If you own Skyrim for the PS3, guess what? You're totally screwed. Or royally screwed, depending on how kinky you are. I gotta give a shout out to Youre1, the homeless gamer, for passing this article over to me. And the article goes on to say that the PS3's Skyrim lag problems are unlikely to be solved. This is coming from Bethesda themselves. A game from Bethesda with technical issues. Get out of town! It appears the memory and lag problems that many PS3 users who've played Skyrim for a prolonged period of time are unlikely to get a permanent solution. This can be deduced after reading through a developer's clarification who's worked on New Vegas explaining the problem. For the uninitiated, Fallout New Vegas, another title produced by Bethesda, suffered from the same frame rate drops and lag issues as their newest title, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is. Answering a question from a user who's faced a similar lag problem in New Vegas after his save file went up to 14 megs, the developer said it's a major problem, especially on the PS3, offering the following explanation. That can easily be a big problem, especially if you're on the PS3. The longer you play a character, the more bit differences on objects, characters, pencils on tables, containers, etc. get saved off and carried around in memory. I think we've seen games that are pushing 19 megs, which can be really crippling in some areas. Alright, yada yada yada. Basically what it boils down to is that the PlayStation 3 has divided memory, okay? There's 256 megabytes for the GPU, the video processor, and there's 256 megabytes for the CPU, the main processor. In the Xbox 360, it's totally different, and a lot of developers prefer this. The memory is pooled together. Both the CPU and GPU access the same pool of memory, and the Xbox 360 has 512 megabytes of memory. And according to articles that I read, that makes it easier to develop games for the 360 as opposed to having two separate pools of memory like the PS3 has. And what Bethesda is basically saying is that because the PS3's memory is divided, when you get deeper into Skyrim and your character has assless chaps and he left a steak on the table and all these different variables are going on, when that has to be loaded into the memory due to the fact that the memory is split in the PS3, that's what causes the slowdown. The memory is getting clogged up due to the save file, and that's why the frame rate is dropping to crap. Or if you're like me, both your PS3s froze when the game tried to save. That was fun. That's why I brought the game back. The article also goes on to say that it's a deep-rooted engine issue. They'd have to revamp the whole engine for Skyrim to make it run more efficiently on the PS3. The guy was basically saying, it's not like dotting the I's and crossing the T's. We'd have to start from the ground up again, so it's not going to be likely there's going to be a fix. Okay, so a few things. You guys know I've talked my fair share of shit about the PS3 and the 360 and Nintendo in general, but I'm gonna defend the PS3 this time. First things first, the whole thing where all the developers say, oh, the PS3 is just too hard to program for, just can't do it on the same level, can't do it. Stop being cool in, like, let's see here, 2008? The system is 5 years old, okay? Yes, I'm not saying it's easy to program for, but it's kind of a little too late to start bitching now or keep bitching about how hard it is to program for the PS3. All the other developers seem to be doing it fine. And then you bitch saying that you would have to revamp your whole engine for the PlayStation 3? Okay, then you do it then. You don't put a broken game out on the market, or if it's not worth your time financially to develop a whole new engine, then you don't come out with the game for the console. You don't take your customers' money first and tell them the game is broken later. That's bullshit. And Bethesda, no offense, from what I've been hearing and reading, the game has issues on all the platforms. PS3, PC, and Xbox 360 all have pretty major bugs. You always release games with a ton of bugs. Fallout New Vegas was no different. Bethesda, the bottom line is, you should be ashamed of yourselves for taking people's money and then admitting later that the game has major issues on the PlayStation 3. The PS3 version either should have been delayed or should have not been released at all. You robbed a lot of people of their money. So anyway, guys, what's your take on this? Do you own Skyrim for the PS3 and aren't having issues with it? Or are you like me and had a ton of issues with the PS3 version of the game and are very pissed off to read what Bethesda has to say about how the game will always run on the PlayStation 3? Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA.